Grand Slam track's new season is coming up soon, and if you actually know what I'm talking about, you are probably a track and field fan. Not a casual track fan, because there's a whole bunch of them. The Olympics are proof of it. And the commissioner of the league, Michael Johnson, who is a 4-time Olympic gold medalist himself, went on the Rich Eisner show to talk about it. I took it upon myself to listen to the entire interview, all 20 minutes of it, at least the part they posted. But there was also a clip from that interview that is circulating around the internet, and apparently that clip is getting a whole lot more press than the whole thing. Because Michael Johnson was asked about Tyreek Hill and Noah Lyles. Specifically, would he consider inviting Tyreek Hill to be a part of his Grand Slam track league? If you know anything about track and field, or for that matter, even my thoughts on the matter, you already know what his answer was going to be. Of course not. Because Grand Slam track is supposed to be a professional track league for the fastest athletes in the world. And no disrespect, that's not Tyreek Hill. But the more I thought about it, the fact that this is even a question that's being brought up on a platform like this means that there's a real conversation that apparently people are missing. Because Grand Slam track is here, and hopefully it is not going anywhere. Because Grand Slam track is filling a void. It is needed, and I don't think everybody in the track community has actually caught up to that part yet. Allow me to fill you in on just a little bit of inside information. I'm not going to name drop, even though I could. But you should know by now that absolutely nobody in the professional track and field world, like nobody whose name you would recognize, actually believes that the current state of pro track and field, like where it was to where we are right now, like pre-Grand Slam, is in a good place. Doesn't mean that we don't have Olympic gold medalists. It doesn't mean that some people aren't making good money. But Noah Lyles said it himself, that the sport in its current state is basically an amateur sport. That Grand Slam track is the first thing that is taking us from that, at least in the last decade to 20 years, to something new. And Michael Johnson also pointed out during the interview that a lot of people don't really understand the intricacies of sprinting, or for that matter, track races in general. And my thought is he's 100% correct, but that's only part of a conversation, so I'll complete the other half. Any professional sport cannot have any real success unless you can get casual fans, like people who don't know much about the sport, to find it entertaining. If you don't believe me, allow me to break this down. Think of it like the NBA. There are a lot of NBA fans, and the majority of them don't really know that much about basketball. Don't get me wrong. They think they do, and they watch basketball. They're entertained by it. They might even watch all the games of their favorite team. They might even have an NBA League Pass subscription. But that doesn't mean they know everything about basketball, or even like most of it. Most of those people didn't even compete on a high school varsity team. No shade, just being honest. But they are still basketball fans, and the NBA product expands and it grows, and it makes billions of dollars as a result. Track and field, or in this case track, because Grand Slam track is only focusing on the track part. You cannot really have success as a pro sport until you get casual fans to pay attention. They do it when the games come around, once every 4 years. But when that's over, nobody really knows what's going on in the track community. Again, the track and field community knows. Like, they know, because if you're still watching this video at this moment, like, even in this moment, if you made it this far, you probably actually care about the sport. But there are a lot of people who don't get this far into a video, or for that matter, will never watch something like this. They are the casual fans, the ones who watch the 100-meter Olympic final, and as far as they know, Lamont Martho Jacobs was the fastest man in the world until Noah Lyles took that crown in Paris for 2024. So I figure that this is as good a time as any for us to have a very real discussion about why we actually need Grand Slam track. I'm not going to get into everything, but I'm just going to be as real as I possibly can. I mean, within limits, because there's some things I don't say. And I'm just going to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and let's get into it. Because you can't fix a problem until you first admit that you have one. And the track community, for that matter, the track and field community, has had a whole lot of problems for a very long time. Noah Lyles is a brand. That brand might, track and field might be a part of that brand. Him running fast is maybe what got people curious about him, but that's not how he's been holding their attention. He's holding their attention with everything else that he does to expand and enhance his brand. It's the reason why he says that he wants to transcend the sport. And hopefully he can bring the sport with him. But this is the same sport that he says is basically amateur. When you watch the Olympics, or for that matter the World Championships, I'm going to say the offensive part out loud. You're not actually watching the fastest people in the world compete. You're watching the fastest ones that they put on that platform, but not all of the fastest. Let me explain. The way the rules work, nations only get, for the most part, 3 athletes individually that they can enter into a championship meet like the Worlds or the Olympics. Just 3, that's it. So if you're a nation like America, specifically in the sprints, that has a whole bunch of fast men, we can only send 3. And up until now, the way we've been doing it is we have a trials or a USA championship, and whoever goes top 3 on that event, those are the people we send over and call Team USA. That's it. Doesn't matter who else you are. Take Christian Coleman, who easily belonged in the Olympic 100-meter final, not just on talent, but on accomplishment. He is the same man who had just won a Diamond League final in the 100, and he was already a world champion from some years prior. It didn't matter, because only 3 men from America can go. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. I don't want to drag this video out unnecessarily, so I'm just going to try to focus on this key point. Why is Grand Slam track actually needed? Because like I said, everyone in the community, like who's really inside the community, generally is aware that the current model that we have isn't all that effective. And the real question is, how do we change it? So here's how it goes. Grand Slam track is a league. I know the Diamond League says they're a league, but Noah Lyles said himself that the Diamond League, for the most part, is independent meets, like independent events that are going on in different cities, that there's a label on it called Diamond League, but they all have meet organizers that are separate. Like, it's not the same thing. You can't negotiate with the Diamond League anywhere near the same way you would, like, an NBA negotiation between the owners and the players. You can do a negotiation and figure out what the league is doing under that pretense. Grand Slam track is now bringing a league for track. If you want to see the fastest athletes in the world compete, this is the best collection of talent you're going to get that you can actually go out and watch. That alone is a victory. We do have some athletes who, at least presently, have not opted in to compete. For the most part, people know who those names are. I don't really need to go back on that now. At the moment, not everybody is competing in Grand Slam track yet. But the moment that happens, I did a poll on this channel to see more or less where the temperature was. And although people have been trained to look at track from the World Championship and Olympic perspective, and again, when I say trained, the track and field community cares about the world, but nobody else does, just keeping it a buck. The casual track community, those people only care about the Olympics and didn't even know the Worlds were happening. Like, I have a whole lot of friends who watch the Olympics, entertained by it, would love to watch more track, but didn't even know the Worlds were a thing. And even when it is happening, they still don't know that it's actually happening. Like, you'd have to, like, flag them down and, like, shove it in their face and be like, hey, look, the Worlds are going on. Because it's just totally absent in the media for them to bump into it. Again, in their present state, for somebody who watches ESPN, you ain't gonna know about it because they're not gonna say anything about it. The most we heard about the World Championships for track and field, like the most we heard about it in recent memory, was when Noah Lyles did a press conference after the Worlds were over. Am I missing something? That's the most, like, general press that we saw on major American television about the Worlds. And when it comes to actual opportunities to make money from competing in track and field, or again, let's be honest, right now we're talking about the track part, there's not a whole lot of them out there. The prize money for those who actually make it into the big events, like Diamond League events, Continental Tour, like up until now, that's the biggest thing you had. the prize money just isn't all that much. It's going up this year to some degree because Grand Slam track is not really giving them a choice in the matter to stay competitive. Appearance fees, which some athletes get, emphasis on some, that's how a few people can really pad out the money. And then the rest of it is sponsor deals, which is really about being a brand more than anything else. Like, going fast is like a small piece of it. It might be the thing that gets people curious about you, but it isn't the thing that's going to hold their attention. There's a whole bunch of athletes who are very fast, who don't get the biggest contracts if they can't figure out the whole brand part. You know your sport has arrived when an athlete like Kawhi Leonard, who does almost absolutely nothing to advance the brand beyond the fact that he just goes out there and plays basketball, and he can still figure out how to get paid very significant money in that pro sports structure by just being good, and that's it. Simply put, if Grand Slam track can actually get the fastest athletes in the world to continually compete, right now they have a whole lot of them, the best collection that I've ever seen in this present era. But that's not what I'm really talking about. If they can get all of them, where nobody who actually takes themselves seriously on the track would ever turn down an opportunity to compete in Grand Slam, when you get there, that is it. You have now built the best professional track league that anybody had ever seen, and it's not even close. And that money is going to trickle down to the athletes. The only thing that can really hold back Grand Slam track from its full potential is if the track community doesn't all get on board. Because the casual fans, this is the closest thing we've ever seen that they could actually get on board with. But they're not going to do it if the track community doesn't support it first. And I get it. People are skeptical for a lot of reasons, but you can't fix the problem if you don't first admit that you have one. I'm sorry to tell you, the World Championships in its present structure, it just is what it is. And if we put all of our energy there, specifically for the fastest athletes in the world, I'm not saying they shouldn't go, but what I am saying is that just can't be the be-all, end-all. It's all about making it to the Worlds. You need something else, where it's all about that. And hopefully we can get to a place where if you are one of the fastest athletes, then it's all about Grand Slam track. And yeah, if you can go to the Worlds maybe and try to win some medals, and I mean, personally, I would be fine if we just left the Worlds to the college kids for all I care. People just want to see the fastest athletes go at it. Because if it's not the Olympics, the casual fans really aren't paying attention. At least until you package it in a way they understand it. As far as I can tell, Grand Slam track is on the way to doing that. So we're all going to have to make a decision. The athletes and the fans included. Are we going to be a part of the solution or a part of the problem? Because nobody else is coming to save track and field. Because they didn't even know that the races were even going off in the first place. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything. Because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true. That fast is a lifestyle. Get your fast is a lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.